What do you think so far? Happy Tuesday, 23rd day of January 2024, and I'm Dan Kuntz, and this is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is cloudy, it is foggy. We had a little bit of light rain earlier. Right now it's not raining, at least downtown. There are pockets of mist and rain in other locations out in the Columbia Basin. 32 degrees, gray, cloudy, foggy, gradual warming trend. We hit 34 yesterday, almost. Got off the schneid, long stretch of afternoon high temperatures below normal. Didn't get there because now the normal high temperature is 35, so we just missed it by one. But we'll be mid to upper 30s today. Very wet on Wednesday, but the snow level is going to be higher than the valley floors, so there's going to be a considerable amount of precipitation. One storm after the other kind of lined up about every 24 hours. A new storm arrives, but it's mild, and that means it's going to be just a little too warm for snow. It's already begun to melt in many locations. Those details are on the way. Very, very busy news day yesterday. And our very own Jordan Gonzalez went to the Columbia Elementary School PTO meeting last night to get reaction from parents and others as well involved with the Columbia Elementary School PTO. Of course, the Wenatchee School District announcing over the weekend they're going to be shutting down Columbia Elementary School beginning with the next school year. Our cameras were there last night at the PTO meeting. We'll have that story. In sports, lots of prep basketball to talk about. New classifications from the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association has been greenlit. What teams are going to be playing where? Could be some movement in that. And speaking of sports, we usually visit with Austin Drade on Wednesdays, but what the heck? We got him today. The Wenatchee Wild, a nice big victory, of course, on Sunday against Seattle. 3 games this week. The Tri-State Americans will be in town on Wednesday, tomorrow. Seattle Thunderbirds in town on Friday night, and then on Sunday, Prince George will be visiting us at the Talon Toyota Center. 3 home games this week. We'll talk to Austin in the back half of the program, and let's begin our tour around the valley. With the clouds and the fog, we don't have a lot of cameras to choose from, but we got what we got. For instance, the Cascadian, I should say. The Columbian burned down in like 1985, so we don't have a camera on that. But for the roof of the Cascadian, looking to the north on the wet streets of downtown Wenatchee, still light on the morning commute. And in fact, since we don't have a lot of cameras to choose from, we're going to use the other camera on the Cascadian. We got a couple of them up there. You can see the Chelan County Courthouse and Jail and complex to your left. So that is the Cascadian camera that faces south, but we can move these. They're PTZ cameras. We can pan them, we can tilt them, we can zoom them, and that is what we have done there on this wet Tuesday morning. Let's head on up to Rock Island and take a look at that. Boy, it wasn't that long ago, 10 minutes ago, you could see quite a bit from our Rock Island camera. Not anymore. You can make out a little bit of the highway, and you can't see Malaga or Mission Ridge at all from our Rock Island camera. That's up there a ways. Most of them are, of course. And Root Canyon, is anything visible? Well, there you go. We haven't used the Root Canyon camera in a long time, but we have a chance to use it, so why not? Looks like they have still quite a bit of snow up there, but of course they're also at 4,000 feet above sea level, unlike the Wenatchee Valley, which is about 700 feet above sea level. You notice the dense fog, and there is some very dense fog. This morning when I got up at about 3:15, the visibility here in downtown was just nothing. Couldn't see anything at all. And for a while out in the basin, it's still going to be very, very thick fog, visibility less than a quarter of a mile. It's not very fun to drive on highways and interstates when you can't see where you're going. And that's going to be the case out in Moses Lake, all over the Columbia Basin and up on the Waterville Plateau. Low clouds and fog. It will gradually burn off as the day progresses, and I mean gradually, but visibility very much an issue if you're traveling out in the Columbia Basin or up to the Waterville Plateau, and it will be that way for most of the morning hours. Be forewarned. And don't use your high beams. It makes it worse, not better. From the National Weather Service, here we go. Lots of clouds, rain, yep, about a 60% chance of rain. I think we're going to get it. High of about 38 degrees. Our normal high is 35, so we're going to see some snow melt. Cloudy tonight, foggy but dry, 32 for the overnight low. That's where we are right now. Wednesday, quite a bit of rain. In fact, rain most of the day, and the clouds and the fog. Snow level tomorrow at 2,000 feet. It's going to go up to about 2,500 feet as the day progresses. We'll top off at 36 degrees. Once again, 32 for the overnight low on Wednesday night. Snow level staying at 2,500 feet. Right around 2,500 feet for the snow level on Thursday. That means rain and a high of 38. We'll bump up to 40 by Friday with clouds and rain and fog, and Saturday and clouds and rain and fog, and a high of about 40. I think we're going to have no snow at all on the ground by the time we get to the weekend, and we'll be in the lower 40s on Sunday and Monday. No sunshine, none of it. Just one storm after the other, not packing a big punch, but certainly warm, moist air with snow in the passes, but really not a lot. All right, that's your forecast. When we come back, the news and a lot of it. You're watching a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Localtel cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here.
Oh.
I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
Check out clubcrowcashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
8 minutes after the hour, just got word, no school in Waterville today. We mentioned the dense fog. Well, a lot of that fog is sticking to the roadway. We understand a lot of the roadways in and around the Waterville area are simply impassable with black ice. So for you folks up in Waterville, no school today. You can either go back to work or keep watching this program. We start with this story. Are the parents of Columbia Elementary School going to do everything that they can to save their school? And after last night's PTO meeting, they say yes, we're going to do exactly that. Teachers, staff, and parents are feeling left in the dark after the Wenatchee School District announced that they're going to be closing Columbia Elementary School beginning with the upcoming school year, the autumn of 2024. When PTO member Yvonne Rodriguez asked the crowd in a packed Columbia cafeteria if they were willing to protest to save their school, the attendees cheered.
Thing is too, is like, say it doesn't go as planned tomorrow, nothing happens. Obviously, you mentioned it. Are you guys willing to protest?
Absolutely.
Are you guys willing to march? Are you guys willing to do a walkout with us?
A lot of the people attending the PTO meeting said they're going to be at the school board meeting tonight. Among them, Kyle Diaz, who has 2 kids, who goes to Columbia.
I'm gonna take the night to cool down emotionally and think about the specifics as to why this isn't a great move for them. Right now, I think that we're all very emotional and very mad, and I think that my biggest advice for any other parent that's in our position, come down to the bullet points. Be very specific, because they are not gonna wanna listen to somebody who's gonna cry.
Could be a very interesting Wenatchee School Board meeting tonight. It gets going at 6 o'clock. at the district office. Yesterday, we told you how the Eastmont School District put together their 2024 bond proposal around community input. 4 elementary schools are named in the bond, each having issues with heating, cooling, security, accessibility. The bond would completely modernize Cascade, Lee, and Kenroy elementary schools and make improvements to Rock Island Elementary School. Specifically, the bond would address issues like the exterior doors at Kenroy and Cascade, construct a single point of entry at Rock Island, and replace aging HVAC systems. Last week, our own Jordan Gonzalez spoke with teachers at Cascade and Rock Island to hear about how the conditions at their schools have on teaching kids.
On January 16th, it was too cold for Eastmont students to go outside for recess. For kids at Cascade Elementary School, they'd need to go outside anyway if they're going to the library or cafeteria. The school was built in a series of buildings, and every classroom has an exterior door that leads to the outside. Last Tuesday, when NCW Life was granted access to the 4 elementary schools named in the 2024 Eastmont School Construction Bond, students around the district were not escaping the cold once they were back inside.
My classroom is currently at 58 degrees, which is too cold for students. And so when we're getting lined up to go to specialists and everything, you think of that exterior door that has to be opened up to the 4-degree weather outside. And that's just making it even colder. The kids are cold in class right now, and so we're bundled up and wearing our coats all day, but it'd be nice to be in a building where when it does get cold, the system can keep up and keep our kids warm. And then the same thing happens in the spring. It gets very hot in our classrooms, and again, that causes a challenge for learning and teaching.
Classroom doors remain locked at all times. When students are coming and going throughout the day, it becomes a disruption to the class with a lot of up and down happening to let them back in. There are several doors in each class, and the teachers described their uneasy feeling knowing there are so many entrances to the classrooms.
If someone were to get in one door, they have access to the entire pod. So when we do drills and things, we've had staff meeting after staff meeting trying to problem solve to keep kids safe. If it were real, what would we do? But all of the doors, if one is unlocked, then they gain access to the entire pod, which is unnerving.
Additional challenges to the outdoor hallways include the uneven walkway, which poses extra challenges for students with physical disabilities.
2 years ago, I had 2 kids in wheelchairs, and when you think about just going to PE or to library or to lunch, they would go out, and it was really challenging to get the wheelchairs over any of it on a regular day, but then when it snowed, it would delay all of the time, at least 5 minutes for every single transition throughout the day. So that's a huge challenge for kiddos that have wheelchairs or crutches or anything, whether it's temporary or permanent.
The issues of heating, cooling, and safety are concerns felt around the 4 schools. The current layout of Rock Island Elementary's entrance is another example.
We do only allow our parents and our students to enter through the main building, but when you first walk in, you can go 2 different directions in the hallway instead of direct line to the office. I think it's going to be extremely important for us to really lock that down so that when we let people into our building, that they only can go to the office first before going into our building. Because right now, it's just a huge safety concern. You don't want to expect the unexpected, but you do. You want to prepare for anything, and right now you can't. There's just they can come get buzzed in and then they can go any direction. So for me, that's a huge safety concern as a teacher and as a parent with kids in this school.
Before safety measures required outside leading doors to remain shut during the school day, teachers at Rock Island would leave them open to get better air circulation. That was also sometimes how they would handle the odor of their drainage system.
You can definitely smell that when you're going down the hall sometimes. That's not a good smell.
It does fill the hallways, the classrooms, to the point where you're trying to close the doors. And again, you want to open your outside doors, but our windows don't open. So if we could, in the newer side of the building, we have the windows that you can just slide open, but here it would just be our doors, which comes back to that safety concern. This is a good school, and just because we have peeling tile on our floors doesn't mean we're not a great school, and we are a really great school.
Authorities say a semi-truck traveling too fast in foggy conditions was the cause of a chain reaction accident. This happened yesterday at the intersection of Highway 26 and Beverly Burke Road. According to the Washington State Patrol, 2 semis were stopped in the eastbound lane of the highway following a collision when a third eastbound semi swerved into the westbound lane in an attempt to avoid the stopped semis. The third semi then struck the back of the second semi, which in turn collided with the third semi. A fourth truck, a westbound Chevy Silverado pickup, swerved into the ditch to avoid the first semi, ended up striking it in the back. Two drivers of the semis and a passenger of a semi were injured, but they did not require hospitalization. Highway 26 fully blocked for 3 hours. The Housing Authority of Chelan County failed to conduct a competitive bid process before they went out and awarded about $420,000 in renovation contracts. That's the finding from the Washington State Auditor's Office. Back in 2021, the Low Income Housing Administration collected bids on rehab work at Chelan Gardens Apartments, but the low bidder pulled out. The Housing Authority then changed its bid specifications and asked for new bids from the other contractors who originally sought to do the work rather than starting a new bidding process. And that conflicts with federal housing fund regulations. The housing agency admitted it made a mistake and says it's implemented new training, and they hired an outside advisor to avoid future missteps. A Washington Senate bill to make educational curricula more inclusive of LGBTQ and other marginalized groups passed in the House last week. Republicans, including 12th District Senator Brad Hawkins, opposed Senate Bill 5462, saying it removes control from local school districts to build their own educational programs. Hawkins introduced an amendment last session to make the requirements voluntary. That was voted down. He addressed the Senate before the vote on Wednesday. The bill passed, by the way, by a vote of 29 to 19.
This isn't just simply, sort of as a prime sponsor mentioned, suggesting to school districts that they consider. No, this is a mandate on all 295 different school districts. And to be clear, Mr. President, school districts are their own local governments, like cities and counties. Sure, they get a lot of funding from the state, but they also get funding at the local level, at the federal level, and they are overseen by their locally elected school board members and administered by their school superintendents. But it just seems like the trend is to take more and more discretion away from the local communities and force feed stuff from the legislature onto all 295 school districts.
6 local celebrities competed in the Dancing with the Wenatchee Stars competition. It was held Saturday night at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. The idea, raise money for nonprofits, and Top Rojana Hastian took home the coveted Mirror Ball trophy. Top is a Wenatchee City Council member and the owner of Atlas Fair Restaurant. He performed a 90-second dance routine to the Austin Powers theme song with a dance partner from the Utah Ballroom Dance Company. And he was voted winner by the audience. His participation in the competition raised money for the Chelan Douglas Community Action Council. Mission Ridge Ski Patrol Director Delcy Profit finished second. And finally, for years, the Leavenworth Winter Sports Club has hosted an event called Chicks on Sticks. It's a just-for-fun cross-country race that benefits women's cancer research and support. Back in 2022, longtime ski coach Barb Kelly succumbed to her cancer, and on Saturday, the race was held in her honor. Organizers also renamed a section of the trail Barb's Loop in recognition of her work for ski programs. Our cameras were there for the event, which this year benefited the Wellness Place.
I've done Chicks on Sticks kind of throughout my entire childhood. I remember coming out as a kid dressed up in all pink and the full costume and just doing the little loop. And then as I got older, like in high school, there was a chunk of time where there's a bunch of women in their like 40s and 50s who are very competitive. So I'd come out and I'd be racing. It'd be like me and my mom and a couple of her friends all duking it out. So yeah, it's always been a fun community event. She never organized it, but always raced in it. Skiing was always like one of her passion things. She started skiing in high school back in Minnesota and then went to college in Montana and skied there. And then when she moved out here, started skiing and got involved with the Nordic team probably around the time I started, so like 2005. and then slowly got more and more involved, and then coached for a number of years and continued coaching even after I was out of the program. She was really just a wonderful person and really loved her community and was always putting in more work for her community. She, even up until the end, even when she was in the hospital, she was like thinking about fundraisers for the ski team and different things like that. So she really just like cared about finding the community. She also just like loved the kids. Her favorite group to coach was always the middle schoolers because they were at the point where they weren't super serious about racing yet, but they had a lot of enthusiasm. And she just like really loved that youthful enthusiasm. The costuming is a big part of it. I feel like this is the only pink thing I could find, so I feel like I failed a little bit with costuming today. But yeah, it's always, fun event. Everyone gets dressed up for it. It's about a 4-kilometer loop, and it goes out along the canal, and then you get like a nice view up to Sleeping Lady on a clear day, and then it goes down and like along the river, meanders by the river, and then loops back up here to this meadow that we're in. So my first time when I was like 7 or 8, it was a big deal for me to be able to come and ski the entire front loop and the entire back loop. And so now that this is a trail dedicated to that, super special. And then I also have a necklace that Siri Healy, who's also local, I have a Sleeping Lady necklace that my mom gave me when I graduated high school that I've always worn. And so Sleeping Lady's always been a special thing. I've connected with her. So now that there's a trail back here and a bench looking up at Sleeping Lady, that it's really special for me.
And now you're in the loop of what's going on here in the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington. If you endeavor to be informed about what's going on in the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington, watch the news at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10 on television. That doesn't work for you, and for a lot of people it doesn't. We live busy lives. It'll be up and running on the World Wide Web, on our homepage, ncwlife.com, right about 5 o'clock, on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and on our app. And if you haven't downloaded our app yet, you can do it right now. Grab your phone, and there you go. There's your QR code, and there's something out there that warrants our attention. If you think there's a news event that is news, you get a hold of us. Best way to do that, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Still to come, sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, some celebrity birthdays, an opinion from my Mad Dog McNaughty, and we're talking wild hockey with Austin Drade. It's a busy Tuesday. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Come see how very different you will feel in your Bullfrog Spa.
Hey there folks, Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to Blueberry Hills to experience some real treats. Take a look at our homemade cream pies, our amazing cheesecakes, and don't forget our famous banana pudding. Remember, we're more than just great treats. People come from all over the world to experience what has been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
Snow piles up quickly. Remove it just as quickly with Kubota compact and utility tractors. Rated #1 in durability and owner experience, they're built to take on winter with front and rear mount snow blowers, blades, and rotary sweepers. Get select Kubota tractors for 0 down, 2.99% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying snow attachments. See your local Kubota dealer today.
"25 minutes after the hour in sports, let's hop right to it. The Les Schwab Prep Girls Basketball Scoreboard From last night, Manson knocked off Cascade, non-league game there, 43-35. Kashmir girls, no problems with Sultan. 59-12, Ephrata knocked off Sela, 58-44. Cascade Christian Academy got by Riverside Christian, 38-30. The Pateros girls crushed Aniat, 64-19, and Soap Lake got the better of Wilson Creek in girls basketball last night, 55-21. That's the ladies. For the boys, Manson snuck by Cascade, again a non-leaguer there, 59-37. Ephrata beat Othello in CWAC action, 52-49. It was Ephrata over Sela as well, 59-36. Waterville Mansfield knocked off Thorpe. It was Riverside Christian crushing Cascade Christian Academy. And he got by Pateros in boys basketball. Soap Lake beat Wilson Creek 80-21. In just over a week, playoffs begin in high school basketball. Depending on your classification, all of tonight's games, by the way, you see there, league affairs. The girls get to go first. Cascade will be at Chelan at 5:45 and Quincy at Omak in Caribou Trail League basketball, also at 5:45. 6 o'clock kickoff, tip-off for Okanagan at Lake Roosevelt, Brewster at Tenasket, Orville at Manson, and Bridgeport at Liberty Bell. And the boys' schedule, same as the girls, just 90 minutes later. Cascade at Chelan at 7:15. Quincy will be at Omak at 7:15. The 7:30 tip-offs, Okanagan at Lake Roosevelt, Brewster at Tenasket, Orville at Manson, and Bridgeport at Liberty Bell. The executive board of the WIAA finalized the classification numbers for the four-year cycle that will begin this fall. They did this on Sunday. Direct cert has replaced free and reduced lunch as the social economic factor for the classification process. That means a school with a direct cert rate greater than the statewide average of 34% had its enrollment number reduced for each percent that they exceeded the statewide average. Now for the Big Nine, it remains the same. As you see there, 3 schools are at the 4A level by enrollment. That's Wenatchee, Moses Lake, and Sunnyside. And 4 schools, including Eastmont, are opting up to 4A to keep the league intact. But the Caribou Trail League looks like it's going to go from 5 schools to 4. Quincy High School reporting 501 students in the adjusted enrollment count, and that bumps Quincy High to the 2A level. But whether they return to their longtime affiliation with the Central Washington Athletic Conference, we don't know yet. In a press release on Monday, the Quincy School District said, and I'm quoting now, "The Quincy School District is dedicated to providing a positive athletic and competitive experience for our student athletes. In light of this classification change, Quincy High School is actively exploring all available options to ensure our students have access to the best possible athletic experience." I guess we shall see. And fresh off a resounding 9-3 victory over the Thunderbirds on Sunday night, the Wenatchee Wild return home tomorrow night to take on the Tri-City Americans. The voice of the Wild, Austin Dryday, tells me that the new players, new to the team, have found their roles, and the health of the Wild are pretty good.
So I think there are a few guys that are still moving through that first and second line right now. Maddox McHaggerty's been starting the last few games for this group with Evan Friesen out of the lineup. And the third and fourth lines, you've still got the guys who are scratched from the games. You've still got guys who are trying to settle into a spot, maybe move up into that third line and really take over the back half of the lineup. So I think everybody's groups are pretty well settled out. Now it's just a matter of, okay, what's the best fit for everybody in terms of first line, third line, fourth line? Who do you play best with? I think there's still some sorting out being done there, but in terms of a general where's your spot on the team, I think everybody's pretty well settled into that spot.
And how are we health-wise? Now we're past the halfway mark. So we talked about bumps and bruises are inherent to hockey. Everybody's going to be a little banged up, but overall health of the team right now?
Gabe Ludwig's still out. He's been out long-term with some injuries, but everybody else healthy and ready to go. Evan Friesen back in the lineup here this week, so this should be a pretty full group and ready to go for 3 very important games.
And my complete conversation with Austin will air in the back half of this program. Those are just some of the games that people are playing on this 23rd day of January. Happy National Handwriting Day, because it's John Hancock's birthday. John Hancock, one of the founding fathers, who's now synonymous with signature. Put your John Hancock on the line. Handwriting, of course, is, it's sliding away. When I was in 3rd grade, and I believe it was in 3rd grade that you taught You were taught cursive. My handwriting was immaculate. It was just gorgeous. It was print quality. The teacher, Mrs. Miller, would always tell the kids, go look at Danny Kuntz's cursive. That's how you're supposed to do it. I had great handwriting, really good handwriting, until I was in about 6th grade. Then my folks bought me a typewriter. My handwriting went to hell. And it's never improved, and because everybody now uses word processors or computers or typing or texting or whatever the case may be, actual handwriting as an art form continues to decline. It's probably in serious danger of disappearing altogether. When was somebody sent you a handwritten note? Now I get more than I probably should. People who do the show will occasionally write me a thank you note, and it's always handwritten, but the wide availability of typewriters in the 80s, followed by computers in the 90s and computers today. I mean, seriously, how often do you write something down? I type it. And even I'm not very good at that. Happy National Handwriting Day, if you remember how to do it. It's 31 minutes after the hour. Today in history, the Shenzhen earthquake. The Shenzhen earthquake took place in the Shenzhen province of China on this date a long time ago, 468 years ago, January 23rd, 1556. We bring this up because it's the deadliest earthquake ever. How many people died? About 850,000 people died. The people who lived in the Shenzhen province of China lived in caves built into cliffs, and it happened in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping. There's a massive earthquake. They don't really know what it was on the Richter scale, but it was big enough that basically all of these people were essentially buried alive. The initial earthquake killed about 100,000 people, and then an additional 700,000 people died from famine and disease as a direct result of the earthquake. So they figure 800,000, give or take a couple, the world's deadliest earthquake, 468 years ago today. 83 years ago today, Charles Lindbergh, the great aviator, summer of 41, or winter of 41, says, we're not in the war yet, you know, but he goes to Congress and he says, we should just sign a deal with Hitler. We should just sign a neutrality pact with Adolf Hitler so Nazi Germany won't attack the United States. Well, as we know, Adolf Hitler didn't really adhere to the treaties and agreements that he signed with other countries. He just blew them off and invaded them anyway. That got old FDR pretty ticked off. FDR called him out on it. He said, you know, you're a defeatist and an appeaser. We're not going to sign any kind of deal with Hitler. And when FDR went to bed that night after Lindbergh testified in front of a pretty friendly Congress, there were a lot of isolationists in January of 1941. FDR is trying to get us sideways into the war by supporting Great Britain. FDR, when he went to bed that night, he told his servant, he said, if I die tonight, if I don't wake up, I want you to know, and you can tell everybody, that I think Charles Lindbergh is a Nazi. We didn't, by the way, sign a neutrality pact with Hitler, in case you're curious. 67 years ago today, Walt Morrison, inventor of the Frisbee, sells his invention to the Whammo Company. Wasn't even called the Frisbee. The Frisbee itself is a brand name. He called it the flying disc. Now everybody calls it the Frisbee. He invented the Frisbee after World War II, caught on in campuses, and Whammo said, hey, yeah, we'll take it. So Walter Morrison sells his rights to the flying disc. He still got royalties, made him a rather wealthy man, but the Whammo Company renamed it the Frisbee. Smart move there, buddy. I can't make them. Somebody else can, and I'll take some money. This is the 60th anniversary of the abolition of the poll tax in federal elections. Most states didn't have a poll tax, of course, but when this law passed, this constitutional amendment passed, the 24th Amendment, on the state 60 years ago today in 1964, it eliminated the poll tax in all federal elections. There were 5 states that still had a poll tax for state and local elections. In other words, if you wanted to vote, you had to pay to vote. Yeah, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas, and Virginia, nope, still got to pay to vote. Only federal elections you don't have to pay That made it rather cattywampus. Supreme Court stepped in a couple of years later and said, no, poll tax gone for everybody, eliminated poll tax. All poll taxes were declared unconstitutional. 2 years later, the federal poll tax was eliminated by the Constitution on this date, 60 years ago today. And 38 years ago today, at the Waldorf Astoria in New York City, the first 10 inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame were inducted. Doing the honors, Roberta Flack inducted Little Richard. Keith Richards inducted Chuck Berry. It's a great speech. It's on video. Steve Woodward did the honors of introducing James Brown into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Quincy Jones inducted Ray Charles. Herb Albert did the honors of inducting Sam Cooke. Billy Joel inducted Fats Domino. Neil Young inducted the Everly Brothers. John Fogerty did the honors of inducting the great Buddy Holly. Jerry Lee Lewis was inducted by Hank Williams Jr., and Elvis Presley was inducted by John Lennon's sons, Julian and Sean. Of course, Buddy Holly, Sam Cooke, and Elvis Presley were all inducted posthumously. Little Richard was very much alive, but just a couple of days before the ceremony, he was in an auto accident, pretty serious one. He was recovering, so he could not be there. There were 6 other people inducted that night under the early influences. It was Jimmy Rogers, the great singing brakeman, Jimmy Yancey, and Robert Johnson. And in the non-performer category, Alan Freed, Sam Phillips, the founder of Sun Records and the Memphis Recording Studio, and the legendary A&R man for Columbia, John Hammond. The first rock and roll inductees got their trophies on this date in 1986. One birthday, one of my favorite Supreme Court justices of all time, Potter Stewart, 82nd Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, retired too soon, I think. He was born in the state in 1915. He had the famous line when the Supreme Court was trying to find a legal definition of pornography. They're never going to do it right. It's impossible to legally define pornography. There's 300 million different definitions of what it is. But in his famous opinion in Jacob Ellis v. Ohio, he says, I know it when I see it, and what we're deciding on here isn't pornography. He said, I don't know how you can legally define pornography. And he was right. You can't. It's 38 minutes after the hour. An opinion from my Mad Dog Minotti is coming up. Plus, Austin Drade, the voice of the wild. We got the Tri-City Americans in town tomorrow, Seattle on Friday, and Prince George on Sunday. That's coming up. Special thanks to our friends at Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They are platinum sponsors of the NCW Life channel. Don't touch that dial. Mike Mignotti is next. You're watching a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hey folks, Lehman here with Crown Furniture and Mattress. Folks, there's no question if you're looking for top quality furniture and mattresses, Crown Furniture and Mattress is the place for you. Whether it's Flex Steel's patented blue steel spring, Englander's 120 years of innovation, or Stanton's incredible comfort. Folks, we have it all. So stop by and see us today at 736 South Wenatchee Avenue.
Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue, family owned and operated on North Wenatchee Avenue, right next to Hooked on Toys. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue uses only fresh ingredients, handcrafted with love, including authentic Hawaiian barbecue and Japanese-style ramen noodle soups. And the bubble teas will keep you coming back for more. Enjoy the culinary tour of the Pacific Rim with Hawaiian barbecue lunches and combo plate classics, as well as ramen noodle soups. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue. Enjoy their comfort food like you're one of the family.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I believe there are a number of private and charter schools in our area. Actually, one of my grandkids goes to one. And I remember when this particular school and the others started, they did so without justifying the creation of their school by spreading false information and outright lies about the public school system and our current school board. I mean, why should they? People, you can start at school if you want to. Yeah, nobody's stopping you. So why should any local organization have to resort to mudslinging and the outright spreading of lies and disinformation to justify their doing so? Well, you know, this is why. It's a common fascist tactic. Yeah, that's the word, fascist. If you want like-minded people to support your project financially, you create a mutual enemy. Yep. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
The agents of Kennedy Real Estate Group are committed to providing the ideal client experience. We believe in the power of relationships. Why? Because we don't just work here, we live here. From the nonprofits we serve, the parks where we play, and the local businesses we support, our team understands the value of living in the Wenatchee Valley. Let's begin your real estate story.
Abby says thank you to our thousands of pizza-loving friends from our first 60 years. From our family to yours, thank you. This January, Abby's is proud to offer our classic Big Hawaiian pizza at a very special price. Order now at abbys.com or join us in our parlor for a legendary pizza tradition.
Your home runs on hot water. From the kitchen to the bath to the laundry. So Rheem offers a wide variety of water heaters from traditional models to ones smart enough to tell you how much hot water is available. On second thought, perhaps the laundry can wait.
Have you been to Boswell's Furniture lately?
Yes, Boswell's has an expansive 2-story showroom filled with so many great choices for our living room, dining room, and bedroom.
Did you know that Boswell sells directly from their store inventory, so we wouldn't have to wait to get our new furniture?
Yes, plus Boswell's has free local delivery and complimentary design service to help us with the layout and fabric choices.
No waiting and amazing customer service. I mean, why would we go anywhere else?
Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
And Wake Up Wenatchee Valley is back. Once a week, we endeavor to sit down with Austin Drade of the Wenatchee Wild, talk a little hockey. Pretty interesting week for the locals. First of all, they have a game tomorrow, Wednesday. They'll be welcoming Tri-City into town. They got Seattle in town Friday night, and then Prince George on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, Austin Drade. Huge crowd. They love you. Hi, bud. What's up?
Pretty good. How about you?
Well, let's just go chronologically as we roll tape. As we say, huge crowd, fourth largest crowd in franchise history on Sunday night, over 4,000 packing the Town Toyota Center for Guns N' Hoses night. All the scoring done in about a 2.5-minute section in the first period. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, that one's kind of roulette from the right wing, a one-timer to make it 1-0. But the Wild get it right back. That was on a power play. Kenta Iso guy, yeah, that's all the breather he needed. Tried to send it out front for Miles Cooper. But check this out. It's going to go off the stick in front of the net. That's not supposed to happen. And the Wild tie it at 1 apiece. Miles would have put it away anyway. But on the ensuing play. Wild tie it at 1, just seconds after that previous goal, but with a little under 7 minutes left in the first period. This one's going to come back out front. Gotcha. In the corner of the net. And Chase Bertholet unties the game at 2-1. Wild with an offensive half draw. 13 seconds left. Got to win that draw. Got to send it forward. It's going the wrong way, and the Wild gonna run out of time. 2-1 final score. Spokane with the win on Saturday night, but 4,218 to pack the house and fill up the Wolves' Den to see the Wild come up just a little bit short.
I can't remember the last time we saw a game like that where all the goals were scored in a very short period of time, and that was it. I mean, the skating was great, the hockey was great. There were a few fisticuffs along the way, but 2-1 with all the goals in the first period, and that was it. You don't see that too often.
You don't see that very often. The Wild did their best to fight back. They played trying to tie the game for the last 3 quarters of the game. 7 power plays on the night, but just couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. Probably needed to go to the dirty areas a little bit more and kind of scrape something into the net. Sometimes that's what it takes to get that tying goal, and unfortunately Wenatchee wasn't able to do that.
Well, it did keep the 4,200 people in attendance there for the entire length of the game. So
it really did. An exciting game. Nobody's going to say, hopefully, and I don't think it would be well deserved that a low-scoring game is a low-excitement game. That one had everybody on the edge of their seats all night long.
Who won the guns and hoses battle between law enforcement and our local firefighters?
That was a 4-2 firefighter win, but the cops won the tug-of-war.
Of course they did. That's just the way it is going to be. That was on Saturday night. Sunday night, they hit on over to Kent to take on the Seattle Thunderbirds, and everybody scored. Except Austin. Austin, I think, was the only person who didn't score. Scored 9 goals from 8 different players. We scored early. We scored late. We scored in the middle. We scored a lot. We just took it right to Seattle. Maybe a little frustration from Saturday night's 2-1 loss. I mean, what was going on Sunday?
Score early, score often. No, the guys got out to a great start with a couple of goals in the first 4.5 minutes of the game. Gave back one. Simon Loveson got one midway through the first period, but whatever it was, set it off for Wenatchee after that. 7 straight goals, had it up to 9-1 briefly before they got a couple back. Simon did a lot of the work for Seattle Sunday night. A couple of goals for him, and Jeremy Hansel got one late for them just to give the home fans the final highlight. But no, an outstanding game for Wenatchee. 60 minutes, total team effort. Everybody came to play, and that scoring that the Wild have been looking for so long from the back half of the lineup finally came through.
Yeah, every line scored, right? I believe at one point or another.
All 4 of the forward lines scored at one point.
We like that, and we had a chance to give an untested goalie some serious playing time. When you have that kind of a lead, we pulled our goalie and put in a younger guy in the third period, which was important.
Yeah, Seattle put in Scott Ratzlaff at the end of the game. Spencer Michnick wasn't having a great night, so they gave Scott the chance. Spencer hasn't picked up a decision in the last 3 weeks since the game here on New Year's Eve. Gave him a shot and had a rough night, so Scott Ratzlaff, who was on the Canadian team at World Juniors, didn't get to play, but made the team as their third goaltender, got back into the net, and the Wild got a couple past him in the third, too.
So that was last week in a nutshell. Again, we got the Tri-City Americans coming into town Wednesday at 6 o'clock at the Town Toyota Center. This has been a pretty good rivalry, a budding rivalry between these two teams. We expected that.
We expected that. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a close game again. Tri-City's been kind of on the ropes here of late, trying to get their footing back going into the new year, but I think everybody's going to have at least one good stretch during the new year here in the U.S. division, and Tri-City's hoping to start that stretch against us on Wednesday night, try to bring a big crowd to shut it down.
Yeah, I think we'll do just fine. And then Seattle, we kind of like playing Seattle. Have we lost to them this year? Seattle will be in town, the Thunderbirds, Friday night at 7 o'clock. Haven't we taken them to the woodshed every game this year?
There have been a couple where they picked up a couple of wins against us. One was the first game of the first weekend of the season.
Oh, that's right.
They won that one with 37-30.
can't remember September, so, you know.
30 seconds left, and then we went down there and took 4-2 loss back in October. The last couple of games, though, have been good ones for the Wild. I would imagine Scott Ratzlaff will probably get back in the net against us on Friday night. They're top goaltenders, so we'll see what comes of that. They'll need the scoring to go with it to knock off this group, though.
And then Prince George, who's currently leading our division, they have been pretty much the entire year. They'll be in town Sunday at 4 o'clock. Not a lot to talk about them. They're good. They score goals and they don't give them up.
They score goals. They don't give them up. They got great goaltending at the top with Josh Ravensbergen, still the best rookie goaltender in the league right now. They've got some of the best rookie scoring in the league. It's a young group, but an up-and-coming group. You're probably going to be seeing Prince George here for the next few years. But they've got a young group that is a talented group. They've got some good depth. They're going to bring them into the Wolves' Den on Sunday, hopefully in front of another big crowd.
Now that the roster is set, we talked about this briefly last week. We traded some of our better players to get some more players and more bodies, and most importantly, draft picks in the upcoming years to keep us competitive as a franchise. So there was some significant roster turnover in the early part of the month. Is everybody now here and more than that settled into their roles? Now that was because with that kind of roster turnover, there's a lot of where do I belong now? Is that all pretty much said and done?
I think so. I think there are a few guys that are still moving through that first and second line right now. Maddox McHaggerty's been starting the last few games for this group with Evan Friesen out of the lineup. And the third and fourth lines, you've still got the guys who are scratched from the games. You've still got guys who are trying to settle into a spot, maybe move up into that third line and really take over the back half of the lineup. So I think everybody's groups are pretty well settled out. Now it's just a matter of, okay, what's the best fit for everybody in terms of first line, third line, fourth line? Who do you play best with? I think there's still some sorting out being done there, but in terms of a general where's your spot on the team, I think everybody's pretty well settled into that spot.
And how are we health-wise? Now we're past the halfway mark. So we talked about bumps and bruises are inherent to hockey. Everybody's going to be a little banged up, but overall health of the team right now?
Gabe Ludwig's still out. He's been out long-term with some injuries, but everybody else healthy and ready to go. Evan Friesen back in the lineup here this week, so this should be a pretty full group and ready to go for 3 very important games.
I don't think there's a promotion Wednesday. If there is, I forgot about it. Is there a promotion for Wednesday's game?
Kids in Free Night for Riverside Payments is providing a couple hundred free kids tickets for that one. So the parents will have a chance to bring the kids along and fill up a few extra seats for the game on Wednesday night. That's the biggest thing we've got going on for the game against Tri-City, though.
How does the free kid thing work? I've seen the emails, I've seen the promotions. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
So we've got some great sponsors in the area. Riverside Payments is one of them that are providing free kids tickets into the games. Parents come to the office or do it over the phone, buy those tickets to go with the adult ticket purchase. But we've got a limited supply of the free tickets, but any kid 12 and under with the adult ticket can get into the game for free on those selected nights. Wednesday's one of them. Friday's one of them, too.
So the kids have to be chaperoned. Again, 12 and under, you just can't drop the kids off at the gate and say, well, I'll come see you in 2.5 hours. Mom or dad or some adult has to accompany the kid, which makes perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. Seattle, Friday night. What's the promotion there?
Friday night is Superhero and Princess Night. That one's presented by Numerica, who's doing a couple hundred free kids tickets for that one too. If you missed out on your chance to get a Wild jersey in the auction on Saturday night, you're in luck. We're doing it again on Friday, and that'll benefit the Brave Warrior Project.
And then finally, Prince George, Sunday at 4 o'clock. It's obviously the best team in the league. It'll be a pretty sizable crowd, I'm assuming. If you're not watching the football games, don't watch the football games. Don't watch the Wild. What do you got going promotion-wise on Friday?
Sunday. On Sunday, it's our annual teacher appreciation. So we'll do our annual Dash for Cash on the ice. Geese is sponsoring that one, and it's also our Fred Meyer Sunday Fun Day. Best team in the Western Conference coming into town, so no reason not to get out and see the Wild play on Sunday. You can check out the highlights of the football games later.
Yeah, nobody cares. Austin Andrade, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. Did we touch on everything? Did we get everything in there that we needed to get in?
I think we got everything covered.
Yeah, cool. You liking this team? I mean, we started out struggled, and then we went on an incredible hot streak. But we knew as we talked to Bliss and some of the higher-ups that there was going to be some roster changes. Now that we're settled, the roster is locked in. Are you liking this team's chances to make a pretty deep run to the playoffs?
I think it's going to be a pretty good group in April. The battle's still on for home ice, and Wenatchee's right in the middle of it. Obviously, that first round, if you slot into that 4 and 5 series, it's going to be a battle. It's probably going to be a long one, but we'll see what comes out of that. Second round, maybe more. Who knows? But I like this team's chances to at least be competitive and hang around a bit once we get to that point.
Get your tickets again. Three home games. Tri-City on Wednesday, tomorrow Seattle on Friday, Prince George on Sunday, and that wraps up what was it? 10 home games in 11 days, something like that, or 10 home games in 11 games, something like that.
10 out of 11, 12 out of 14. It's been a great homestand. We got some big road trips ahead now.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin Andrade, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, and we will be right back.
While it may be hard to resist those big brown eyes and pleading face, many people aren't aware that people food can be dangerous to pets. And it's not just because of the added weight gain. Some foods are downright dangerous, including chocolate. For a detailed list of dangerous foods, go online to pawsandclawsvh.com. If you suspect your pet has eaten something dangerous, please call Dr. Shauna Baez and her staff at 888-PAWS, as your pet's health is important to us.
Collins Fashions wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. We have so much to be thankful for in the Wenatchee Valley and surrounding communities. We truly have the best customers, and we truly appreciate your support at Collins Fashions. We are so excited to bring in the most fun and colorful spring and summer merchandise. Brighton jewelry and handbags have new, delightful designs, colorful and fun. Collins Fashions has superb service, professional stylists, and complimentary gift wrap. Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Localtel cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
All right, we are back. Cloudy, foggy, misty, some light rain, 34 degrees here in the big city. Off and on showers for the course of the day today. Dry off a little bit tonight. Significant weather system coming in Wednesday. Lots of rain heading our way Wednesday. Going to rain all day tomorrow. Right now, the big story is visibility, especially out in the Columbia Basin. I just looked at the cameras from the DOT. Between Quincy and Moses Lake, it's pretty thick. It's pretty bad. Once you get past Moses Lake and you head east towards Ritzville, it improves a great deal. By the time you get to Ritzville, it's not bad at all. Up in the Waterville Plateau, they had freezing fog this morning. It's still very bad visibility, and some of that freezing fog actually stuck to the road. They had some black ice issues up in the Waterville area, so they canceled school. No school in Waterville today. You can't go to school if you can't get to school. And that was the story with the road conditions up in Waterville, but it is still going to be some dense fog in many pockets of our viewing area until mid to late morning, then it'll burn off a little bit. From the National Weather Service, rain, fog, high of about 38 degrees, not any rain or fog. Well, fog tonight, but no rain. 32 for the overnight low. Rain pretty much all day Wednesday with fog and with clouds. We'll get up to 36. The rain will taper off a little bit Wednesday night. Snow level, by the way, is going to be at about 2,500 feet throughout the forecast period, and a warming trend with lots of rain right into the weekend. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Big deal.
Scoop, scoop, scoop.
We're digging down deep to break a world's record.
Get your widescreen on there. As one small town sets its sights on creaming the competition.
Then we get a splash course on how they deliver the mail in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Welcome